Yeah, it's working very well. I'm actually pretty surprised at how well it's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be repairing this sculpture right here. I had a great start on it before the foot broke, which was kind of defeating, but I've decided moving forward, I want to become an expert at repairing sculptures and restoring them to their natural original beauty the best I can. There's entire art forms dedicated to restoration, so there's no reason that I can't do it also. I'm no longer going to abandon pieces if they break, which is kind of what I've done. I haven't had a lot break, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restore this piece by gluing a foot back on here, pinning it in there, and color matching it the best I can with the glue, and continuing on repairing. Okay, so what I'm looking at with this piece, which I want to restore, is I might carve it out a little bit first and then put the stone on after. And I'm actually just finding a chunk of this marble that I have. It's not actually the piece that broke off. So this is the glue right here. Mastic to fill and glue marbles and stones. And it's a 2-part glue. I was out of this stuff, so I got this as the hardener that you add to it. And I've been using this for years, and I know 10X has different types of glues and epoxies and stuff, but this is the one that I've got and I've been using, and it's worked pretty well. So I'm going to try it for this project too. The temperature is a thing when you're doing gluing, and because this is not a heated studio, I want this to cure properly. I can always move it inside, but I just wanted to wait until the temperature was more around 0 degrees instead of it being really cold or having temperature fluctuations. Found a couple pieces here, and now I just want to I'm going to actually sand around the edge of this foot to get a sense of the color, if there's any prominent markings, and to try and match the stone color the best as possible. I think I can probably find a good match because this is the actual stone that I used to carve this piece, so we'll see what I got. I decided the best course of action was to cut 2 flat planes and glue them together. So first, I'm just trying to find a nice piece of marble that is similar in color and color striations as the polar bear. I'm just grabbing some snow to dampen the stone. You can see the color a little bit better of what it's going to look like in the end. And I think I've found a nice piece. So as you can see here, I'm cutting the foot on the polar bear nice and flat in preparation of pinning the selected block that I'm going to use for the repair. Okay, so I have my chunk of marble here. I'm just fitting it in, making sure those 2 planes are nice and flat and aligned, and starting to prepare this chunk of marble down to the right size so that once I pin it, I'm not doing any unnecessary cutting. Here I'm just putting in a line to try and get that angle matched correctly. And then just kind of getting a sense of how the foot's going to come down onto this block of marble once it's pinned. So one thing about marble is it can be brittle or break when you're working with these smaller chunks. So one thing I'm really aware of as I drilled out these pinholes is to not force the stone and to really take my time. Let the tool do the work to prevent me cracking the foot further or breaking the stone I'm using for the repair. I did what I was hoping I wouldn't do, which is I broke the piece more while I was drilling these holes. Sometimes the vibration in these stones, especially when you're dealing with small chunks, can crack these stones. This one worked out great. This one, however, you can see a crack right here. It's very minor, but I can see. Once I get my glue in there, it's gonna seal that small crack also. It's gonna kind of seal everything. Gonna do a quick seal with this liquid glue right now, just to support that little crack while I get everything else prepared to do the main glue. So I'm satisfied with everything. I feel like the glue is gonna work perfectly, even with that small crack. So now I'm just cutting out my pins and I'm going to start the gluing process. Now, one thing I wanted to do was color match the glue a little bit. I started by grinding in some marble dust to gray out the colors slightly. I do typically use some of this white coloring to trend the glue color towards the white to match the marble, but ultimately I knew that in the end I was going to use acrylic paint to do the final color match once everything had been glued and cured and carved and finished. Okay, so now I added the hardener and I'm just putting in the pins and pushing these two pieces together and making sure there's no gaps. It's either going to hold or it isn't going to hold. And you know, from a certain perspective, if I can carve that out and it's fine, then I know that the bond is good enough and strong enough. I'm going to move this inside in about 20 minutes once this glue starts to harden a little bit, just so that it's in a room temperature environment overnight. Hey everyone, just on my way to the carving studio. I glued the foot on the polar bear, so today I get to start carving on the foot to see if it holds. It's been 24 hours, so it should be fully cured. And I was reading that that type of glue actually bonds stronger. It has a stronger breaking point than marble even, so hopefully it holds, but today will be the test. I think I mixed in a little bit too much hardener, and they say when you mix too much hardener in, it actually doesn't make it stronger, it makes it weaker. So we'll see how it worked out. But anyways, I'm just walking over now. So here I am back in the studio getting to test the bond of the glue and if this is gonna actually work or not. All right, first impressions, seems to be holding very well. Like if it stays like this, it's perfect, it's gonna work great. I don't experience any vibration in the stone there. It seems very solid, almost like I'm carving, or as if I'm just carving a solid stone. So I am very pleased with the first impressions of this carving, and so I'm just continuing with the carving process as per usual. And that bond, that hold, continued to hold really strongly. So that basically gives me the green light for the carving. I'm just going to continue moving forward, which is really cool because now I get to finish this piece. So this is the foot that I'm repairing right here. And yeah, it's working very well. I'm actually pretty surprised at how well it's working. Not really noticing too much vibration in that foot or anything. I've just carved it as I normally would carve, and everything seems to be nice and stable. I can't go down too far with the foot because I got pins in there. But you can see there's a little dark line along the seam, but the idea is I'm gonna paint that. I'm gonna color match with acrylic paints, and I'm going to match that and see how that works. So get to use a little bit of my painting background for restoring this piece. You know, as I read, the glue has actually a stronger breaking point than marble itself, so it should actually be just as strong as the marble, maybe stronger actually. So that's pretty cool. My polar bear here, as you can see. Got it right here just in my office studio, and I am going to paint that right there. So you can see the foot there. You can actually see the top of the pin. At first view, when you look at this thing, without doing anything, it actually looks very good, and you'd almost not even notice. So I'm just gonna do a few refinements. I decided to go with acrylics because I actually thought that the oil from the oil-based paints would oxidize the stone or soak into the stone. So the oils would actually go into the stone because stone can be quite porous. Acrylics is water-based, and that won't happen as far as I know. And even though with oils, I feel like it's easier to color match because it doesn't change colors when it dries, I think acrylic is going to be my best bet. So I have some good quality acrylic paints here that I'm going to be using. Just judging by the color of this stone, it's basically just going to be white. And yeah, I'm just going to use the 3 primaries probably. White and then blue, yellow, and red. It looks like almost slightly green, off-white, very subtle yellow, greenish. Not trending towards the blue side, towards the yellow, greenish side. So that's going to be my plan. Thank you everyone for taking a moment to watch this video. If you're interested in collecting my work, you can always reach out to me on any of my social media platforms or visit my website to see all the available pieces. And of course, you can always support my journey as an artist by liking and following my channels, and even just by watching the videos. And hopefully I've added some value to your day. Enjoy.